This book absolutely changed my life forever. After I read it, I was never the same again. Okay, so let me tell you this story about the book that really changed my life. And I'm not trying to sell the book. I'm just telling you honestly what happened. About 2 years ago, I went to Barnes and Noble's. And I walk into the cafe at Barnes and Noble, and there's two real estate colleagues there. And it was actually on my birthday. And so I walk in, I say, hey, what's up? What you guys doing? And we're talking or whatever. And I tell them, I was like, what y'all get me for my birthday? Oh, and the girl, I was messing with her, but she was like kind of embarrassed or kind of felt bad. I'm not sure what it was, but she was like, tell you what, I'll go and buy you whatever book you want. Just go get it and I'll pay for it, right? So I was like, for real? And that was kind of like when I was starting to really learn to accept things, right, from people, to be safe in receiving things from people. So then I was really into, and I still am into, a lot of like self-development books. So I go to the self-development aisle, and literally I'm there, and I'm a firm believer that books will, like, I know this is going to sound some foo-foo stuff, but I feel like certain books will call out to you. And so I was there, I'm at my regular self-development aisle, and there was a book, it said, Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King, right? And I just kind of grabbed it, and I was reading through it, and it was like how to have a better life and how to, live more abundantly and all of these things. And it was right up my alley, right? Because no one needs abundance and prosperity more than someone that's like broke. You know what I mean? And I remember I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to get this book. It looked harmless. I liked the vibe of it. I picked it up and I read it. And then something told me to kind of like look down like one or two shelves, right? And I was just kind of scanning, right? Because I hadn't made my decision. When I scroll down, there's a book there. And honestly, the title really didn't call out to me. Like, it really didn't make any sense. It almost looked like one of those therapy, like textbook type things, right? And I'll tell you what the title was, right? The title was Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. And I was like, man, what the heck? I'm not going to get this. But something just, I don't know what it was. It was something about the book that just made me want to get it. So I pick up the book and I kind of start skimming through. And I was a little upset. I was like, man, I know this book is not going to be good. So I don't know why I'm wasting my time. But something just told me, like, read like the first paragraph in it, right? And when I read the first paragraph, I was completely arrested. And I wish I could remember the paragraph that I read. And after I read it, I was like, I think there's something in this book that I really need, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. So here I am at Barnes and Noble's, right? Everyone wants a good life, wants to like self-development, wants to get rich, wants to attract the right partner. So here I am at Barnes and Noble's with this option of these two books. The first one is How to Have a Great Life and how to do all, how to attract the right person, how to, live in abundance. And here's another book that doesn't even look like enticing or anything like that. But the book is about, how to heal from, childhood trauma. And so at this point in my journey, I wasn't I didn't know. I just knew I wanted to have a good life. That's it. So I have to pick between these books. And on the surface, it doesn't make sense for me to really get the second book, The Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. Because I was like, well, I know my parents weren't perfect. But, I already forgave them and all of these things, and you know, like, I was good, right? I was perfect. And so I thought I was done, but something just told me to get the second book. And honestly, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this book, even though it's not my vibe. You know, I want to get the good vibes, good life one, but instead I'm gonna get this one. And my thought process was, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get it, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna just bring it back next day. I was fully intended on bringing it back the next day. You guys, when I tell you that that book completely changed my life. It completely changed my life because it began to give words to things that I didn't even have words for. And nothing has done more. No book that I've read since. I can honestly tell you that it's marked the difference in my life. Like, I can palpably see my life before I read this book and my life after I read this book, because it brought me to a place where I had to heal a lot of childhood wounds. So here's the moral of the story. And I'm not sure if your story is a book or if it's a therapy or if it's something else or whatever it is. On the surface, it didn't look like what I was looking for. And so a lot of times in life, your healing journey is going to come to you in ways that you least expect. Like, it's so easy to fall in this trap of, oh, you know, I like this title or I like this. It's so easy to fall in that trap. But ladies and gentlemen, no book to this day has done more to heal me than that book. Because it brought me to full circle to trauma that I didn't even realize I was carrying. And I was Christian. And I was forgiving. And I thought I was doing all things right. And so I tell anybody, if you grew up in the Pentecostal church, if you had difficult relationship with your parents, adoptive parents, I highly recommend this book. Highly recommend it. And so, you know, but I think the crazy thing is the medicine came to me in a way that I was least expecting. But here's the thing. I listened to my intuition, even when it didn't make sense. So some of you might be standing right now. Maybe this video is finding you right at a moment where you're getting ready to make a big decision. And it looks good on the surface. And you have another decision that doesn't look quite as good or look quite as fantastical. But something in you is telling you there's something with this second path here. You know what I'm talking about. There's something about the second path here that I think I'm going to take. But yeah, that was my journey. And let me tell you, no book has done more to heal me than that book. And I'm telling you the truth. No book has done more to heal me than that book. Well, yeah, maybe I've read some other books, but that was the book that launched me out into my healing journey. So I hope this helps. I hope it helps you. And let me know if this helps you in the comments. Let me know if you grew up with emotionally immature parents. Tell me about your healing journey. Look, like, I really am curious. I want to learn. I want to know, if you've been through this, I want this to be a safe place for people, to comment what they think, as long as it's respectful, But yeah, man, that was the medicine. And to this day, anytime I had that book and I gave it away to someone. All of my best books, I give them away. Because when you receive a medicine or a gift, you almost kind of want to give it out. here's the answer, But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'm glad you're here.